referring to space. But you know what I might do, I might make a start, just got a bit of an outline. We try to sort of keep it to an hour, and then we'll enjoy SOS's music at the end that he's been kind enough to have for us. But while I just a bit of an overview, I'll just go through to just give a bit of an overview in terms of what Brick BC projects, what we do. Probably I know some of you have heard it, and I apologise having to listen again to it. But in terms of who we are, but for those people who actually haven't heard about Brick BC projects, for their benefit, then we'll just go a bit of in terms of overview in terms of who I am, you know, what problem we're trying to solve, and what our first token series, the Brick Koala series, what it is, some details around that, and then I'll try to stick to sort of 10-15 minutes. Don't want to sort of bore you. Then we go into Q&A. Allow you to ask me anything, and like I said, I'll try to answer as best I can. If I don't, I can always come back to you with a more detailed response. But I'll try to. I think given obviously living and breathing this project for the last 18 months, I think you get to know it inside out, side to side, in all areas of it. And then we just we'll showcase some of the artists that we've been supporting. So LSJ has been kind enough to come along, and Indy as well, to showcase, having them just give us a bit of an overview in terms of what they're doing from an artist perspective, and the insights in terms of where they got to today here. And so listen, we're here from LSJ talk about his art project. Also then we'll have Kumin do the same with Kumin Arts. He'll give us a bit of an overview in terms of what he's doing, and look forward to that. And also SOS. I think before SOS starts to form, we'll just get him to do a bit of just an overview in terms of who he is and what he's doing, and probably clarify some of him and the band name and so forth. So we also get to know a bit about him. But yeah, look. And then we'll do some gifts. There's some gifts to give away. I have posted on Twitter in terms of people to follow those actions, in terms of us, in terms of the artists involved, so we can obviously increase the awareness in terms of what we're all doing. Again, as I said, if we can get it out there and tag some of our friends and families, and they can spread word, and hopefully between all of us we can build a community. Continue to build this community. It's such a great community. Yeah, look, in terms of the Brick BC, let's just give you a bit of a quick overview. My name, I know fondly been actually there's actually been the Raven community who actually fondly started naming me Brick, and that's really nice, and I was happy to take on the Brick in terms of my name, and obviously it's on my profile. But yeah, my name is Luis Miguel Alexo. That's my real name, and my co-founder is my business and my life partner, Melinda Alexo. And again, I think to keep with the theme, she adopted the Mrs. Brick, obviously, in terms of to keep the theme going. So, yeah, and she would be here this morning, but she just had a few issues. She just had an operation actually 3 weeks ago, and so she's still a bit recovering from that. And mornings are a bit of a struggle at the moment for her. So she did send her apologies, and but she's recovering well. So she's all good. But she did send her apologies. But you'll see her around, and hopefully we can get her to one of these sessions later on, as and there'll be more Braveland sessions. But yeah, it's so we started this. We started Brick BC projects. We started planning 18 months ago, and basically Brick BC projects is a real estate property tokenisation platform. So we tokenise Australian properties. So that's basically the crux of it in terms of what we do. And that came about in terms of, given my background in finance and being an accountant, the CPA accountant in Australia for almost just under 30 years. I think it's almost touching 30 years. You sort of lose track of the years. It's obviously been around property. My family's always been in property. developing, renovating properties over since I was a young kid. So I've been around property a long time. And funny, my father's actually a carpenter himself. My son's actually a builder, apprentice builder. So again, it sort of carries in the family. It just skipped me in terms of being on the tools, but but again, you get a good feel around property and what works. And obviously, with my finance and as a CPA, looking after sort of over the years from small to medium-sized business, you get to know what challenges people have. Obviously, business challenge, but obviously more specific in terms of the property, what challenges we have. And so we found that the clunky systems of the finance, it doesn't matter where you are in the world, the clunky systems continue to be a challenge for people. We've got increasing property values continually, whether it be here in Australia, whether it be in the US, Europe. I mean, we're all going through the same thing. So I guess it's a matter to okay, well, we're already doing property. We can just keep going what we're doing and doing property in Brisbane. And just do one at a time and basically continue to do what we're doing. Or we can basically look at how do we actually help try to solve a problem that there is globally. And obviously the blockchain presenting us a great platform with technology to be able to say, well, we could do this slowly in terms of just for ourselves as a family, or we can actually bring other families involved globally. Whether it be young people trying to get into property, whether it be families trying to get into property. We saw a problem there that we could actually help solve and help people get on a journey with us and be able to do access properties that otherwise we probably wouldn't be able. We probably wouldn't, like as a family, we probably wouldn't do some of these higher end properties. But I think collectively, in terms of what we're doing with PPC projects, as a collective, enables me to tap into these properties that they're high end properties. But knowing that these are actually going to be up in value, they're going to be very tightly held, and given what's happening in Brisbane in particular with the Olympics, it's going to be obviously quite an uplift in terms of values over the next 12, 13 years. So basically, as I said, there was a problem there we were trying to solve, and I think as a collective, and having the ability for people to actually access property, doesn't matter where you are around the world. Is a matter of okay, how can we help people that they might be in the African continent, they might be in the South American continent, they might be in the Asian continent, and anywhere in the world, to be able to access property for as little as one token, for as little as $80 US for one token, and be able to start their journey. I thought that was a great way for people to start, have access to property, because any young person, and there's some people like my son who's, as I said, he's an apprentice builder. I mean, he's 22. Sorry, it's my daughter's 22. My son's 24. So he, in terms of starting the journey, it's like you can save for a deposit, as we all know, but that ball just keeps changing. That mark in the centre just keeps changing because values keeps going up, and it's going to accumulate more deposit. So what we say, okay, well, you can start actually buying some tokens, get exposed to property. And then those properties go up in value, which obviously, as a direct consequence, your tokens go up in value. So basically, we saw that there was a problem there. We saw that the clunky old systems of the finance world with borrowing money is going to continue. Yes, they'll probably come around 5-10 years time in terms of DeFi, and some of them now they have to be there in terms of DeFi to be able to continue with their business models as banks and secondary finances and so forth, but I guess in terms of us having the technology now and engaging one of the leading global property tokenisation service providers like DigiShares, we saw there was a fantastic combination that my background is not IT. I love IT, I love technology, but I'm not a coder, so it was never going to be trying to do it ourselves as far as the technology is concerned. It was very much around who's the best of the breed out there, who can provide us with the service, create a platform, a property token platform for us, and then basically also maintain that platform for us as well. So so DigiShares, as some of you know, they do their all for us, and they continue to grow. And I think we had Klaus at one of the spaces that I invited, one of the spaces that I host, he had presented in terms of what they're doing, so it was fantastic for him to do that. And by the way, he's also keen to continue to be involved with the spaces that I host in relation to property tokens, NFTs, and the Metaverse that's on every it's on Thursday mornings, Wednesdays, US and Europe. So again, for us it was important that we had the best of the breed. And again, when I'm doing something, I always make sure that we've got the best people involved. And again, with the Raven community and the Raven coin, I said that given that we sort of looked around for where we were going to buy our NFTs, again, we got the best of the breed as far as NFTs are concerned. But yeah, look, it's for us. As I said, my background was critical because again, knowing that how finances work, knowing in terms of what's a good property, knowing in terms of forecasting. We've made some forecasts around, and that comes obviously from my experience working with businesses over the years in terms of restructures of companies and also planning out in terms of doing three-way forecasting around in terms of what you're trying to achieve, whether it's a property, whether it's a business. So again, that's all very much second nature to me. So again, just combining all those skills from the finance CPA, an accountant, combining the property side of things, combining in terms of the engagement, the trust that we work with people, and again, trust is a big thing. Obviously, being a CPA, a lot of trust comes with that in terms of working with people, and I guess for us it's a matter that continue that trust in terms of what we're doing with BC projects. So basically, at the moment, we've got 11 properties planned out. So each property series is named after an Australian animal. There are some native animals, and some of them, I'll call them Australian animals, but they're not necessarily native, but we'll claim them. So obviously, there is a dolphin coming up. Obviously, a lot of dolphins here. It's not a native to Australia, but obviously, we will claim it's one of ours. But yeah, so we've got 11 properties planned now. This is the first one's done, the Brick Koala series, which is a Brisbane property, and that's just down the road where I live. So it's sort of 5 kilometres within the city. Actually, it's a bit less there, but it's probably depending on which day. But anyway, from the Brisbane city, which will be called the River City, it's just down the road from the city. Where we are in terms of the property, the Olympic Village is 5 kilometres down the road as well. So we see a lot of opportunity. Sorry, what? So we see a lot of opportunity in the area that we're focusing on. So the areas we're focusing, it's going to be Brisbane. I mean, it's got to be a particular area we're focusing on. It's got to be 5 kilometres within the city. We're also focusing then also on the Gold Coast and the Sunshine Coast. So for some of you who do know, and so the ones that don't know, so Brisbane is 1,000 kilometres north of Sydney. So most of you know where Sydney is. So Brisbane is 1,000 kilometres on the coast north of Sydney. Then basically the areas we're focusing on. So you've got Brisbane that we're focusing on the Gold Coast, which is 100 kilometres south of Brisbane. And then also on the Sunshine Coast, which is 100 kilometres north of Brisbane on the coast as well. So it's what we call the Southeast Queensland, and the growth so far over the last just over the last 12 months, the average growth has been between 25 and 30% in property value, residential property values. I'm expecting another sort of, we'll probably be conservative, probably another 15% over the next 12 months. And from that, basically, it's making sure that I've got a list of properties already, probably around 25. 10 we're deep into discussions. So we've also got a lot of backups as well. So obviously we've got this one here, but as I said, this particular property, Brick Koala, that's the one we've been talking with the sellers. And basically, if for some reason and that falls down, we've got 2 others that we've actually already negotiations with, which basically acts as backup. So just to clarify, so basically when we have all the funds in, so the Brick Koala is made up of 40,000 tokens, property tokens, 33,000 are up for sale, and the company holds in treasury 10%, so 4,000. So basically, once we have all the funds in for those 33,000, which is $2.6 million US. So once all the funds in, then it allows us then to go to the seller and settle on that property. So basically, yeah. So it's this one's very exciting. It's a beautiful property. I've got a little surprise later on today, so keep your tabs on Twitter. I have a little surprise that I think you'll like. I think Morgan will like. But again, as I said, we've got to be also very conscious that not to compromise my negotiations with the seller. So we've been talking, but at the end of the day, it's obviously it's making sure that people don't take the mickey out of what we're trying to do as far as the sales are concerned. So hence why it's we've got to keep that to us because obviously if they know in terms of what we're trying to do, they're going to obviously be trying to get more money for the property. So hence why again. Probably it's a good thing that obviously being on blockchain, we're still very early, and I think especially in Brisbane, I think too many people are on blockchain that they don't understand property tokenisation, and I guess for us is making sure that we achieve our objective with this property in terms of the price so we've been discussing it. But yeah, it's an exciting property, but we've got some other ones that are lined up that are very similar to that one there. So that's sort of the feel of the properties that we're going to be buying and tokenising. So there's 11 on our website. We've actually got the properties roadmap in terms of as far as the naming of the property token series and the timeline. So that's what we've got planned out at this stage. Probably just to clarify, I know obviously we've been heavily supporting NFT artists, startup artists on the Raven chain. Probably just to clarify, so there's obviously we've got the property tokens for the properties, which is obviously our core business. The NFT side of things is actually an avenue, a pathway for us to help artists, startup artists on the Raven chain. So that's basically all we're using those NFTs to be able to generate revenue. We don't keep any of that revenue. We basically, all that revenue from NFTs that we generate goes towards two causes. One, to buy NFTs from artists, especially startup artists, and two, goes towards supporting a charity that supports people at homes. And that charity, at this stage, it might be a few charities, and I'll be guided by the community because obviously we're global. And might split in terms of different areas. There's a lady called Willow that I came across on the Steve Ryan show, and now she's actually doing some nice things, some great things to help people without homes over there in the US. So I'm actually having a discussion with her during the week to see how we can engage and see if it's the right fit as one charity that we can get behind. So basically, the NFTs, just to be clear, the NFTs is an avenue for us to support startup artists and also support people without homes. So we don't make money out of the NFTs. Our core business is obviously the property tokenisation. That's our core business. But using that to be able to get involved with the community, the NFT community, especially Raven community, to be able to support those two causes that we are passionate about. And I'll share the vision with you. My vision and my co-founder's vision is to actually, it might be 12 months' time, depending on how we go. But again, my vision is actually be in a position to actually buy a home that we can actually go to a charity and say, here's a property to be exclusively used by you for people without homes, and we'll maintain it and we'll do that as part of our community. So that's my vision. It's something that I'm passionate about, and it's something that will actually have a more direct impact in terms of that cause and supporting people at home. So so again, what the timeline is will be dictated by the community, how we go. And again, I like to think that everybody gets behind it. Oh, sorry, press the wrong button there. I like to think that we as a community can be involved and be able to achieve those things. And I think we're all compassionate, especially at the moment in terms of what's happening with COVID, and people there's going to be some heartaches to go. So I think if we can play our role in terms of helping people at homes. I think it's a great cause that that we get involved. So I think I've spoken enough, and I apologise if I've gone too long, but